This oracle board sitting here in front of me, think of it as a small sacred space where seekers like us can participate in a pilgrimage, you could say. You walk a pathway until you reach an oracle. We start at the center position, and then we follow a branching pathway that can lead to one of 64 potential destinations. Each one of those destinations is a hexagram of the I Ching. So right now we've moved down and left, which gives us a yin line when we completed the first pathway in the down position, and another yin line by completing the second pathway to the left. Had we gone up, we would have got a yang line, or right, we would have got a yang line. And that's why you can see you have a lot of yang energy up here and a lot of yin down on this area. Hexagram 2 is here, hexagram 1 is up there. So you get the idea. If that interests you, you can go back and watch the first video in this series. You can learn how we use astrology to come up with journal prompt questions and topics for the day, and how we answer those questions with tarot cards, and how we just do this inner initiation, this inner work, shadow work, whatever you'd like to call it. This is a process to learn more about oneself, and it's a path of individuation. So to those who've ordered hexatetraglyphs from me on my Etsy shop this week, and friends and family as well who've been interested, thank you. I've been able to kind of perfect the process. I've been working quite a bit this week on building some of these, and I really like the way it's turning out now. You can see it has, hopefully it shows up on camera, but it has silver ink, so you get a nice shine. When you see it in person anyways, you see it has a nice kind of glittery shine, because it has the energy of the moon in there. It takes 27 days to complete the journey. It takes the moon 27 days to move through the zodiac. And then it's made out of balsa wood, so it's really lightweight, and it has these little jewelry box feet on it. So if that's something that interests you, you can pick one of those up on Etsy. I make them by hand. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for the support. People who've been leaving comments and stuff. It's nice. I've had a lot of nice comments and encouragement, and I think the message and the ideas is coming across pretty well. So it's not easy to design something like this and put it out in public, because, well, I mean, there's a ton of tradition, and I don't want to come off saying that I'm the expert on the tarot, astrology, the I Ching. I'm none of those things. I just kind of have a interest in inner work, self-initiation, rites of passage, things like that. And I also love psychoanalysis, depth psychology. And I looked at the I Ching and I thought, there's an opportunity to create a little device that you can walk along, that you can explore, that you can encounter archetypal forces, and in the end it evaluates all of your choices and gives you advice. You know, so the I Ching, it works kind of like a calculator in this process. I'm also working on something similar to this that uses geomancy. So that may be something you see in the future, hopefully. It's going to have a similar setup, but some kind of fun gameplay aspects to it as well that are slightly different than this. Who knows when I'll be done with that, though, so don't hold your breath. All right, so with that said, each day we draw 2 tokens, planetary tokens, and we decide which planet for the day we want to work with. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Oops. We have the sun, which is in Virgo now, just barely entered Virgo. And we have Mars, that is in Libra. You know, I hadn't worked with Mars, and then its presence has really shown up. Even we had the Emperor yesterday, and I spent some time writing about that and thinking about that yesterday. And I worked with the Sun yesterday, and it told me to pay close attention. The Sun in Virgo advised me to pay close attention to that Emperor card, and so I think I will actually choose Mars today. I'm putting Mars on the upper Q position and the Sun on the lower. I just feel that Mars is very yang right now, so yang on the upper side. The Sun being yin is very awkward, but the Sun in Virgo, I'm going to put it on the lower side. And I decided to work with Mars. So that's my first subjective decision, is choosing which planet I want to work with for the day. So there's a little random chance by choosing a token or choosing the tokens, and then there's some of your own choice kind of baked into the process. And that's why I say this is a little bit like psychoanalysis. You know, your choices and subjective decisions are in there, but there's also some synchronicity and some chance, some alignment of the stars. Although, you know, tropical Western astrology, saying that it's alignment with the stars, that's a topic for another day. Sometimes I'm interested in getting into some of that sidereal stuff. Let me know what you prefer. I'd like to know, do you like tropical, sidereal? Are you interested in Vedic or Chinese astrology? And for anybody who does get into Bazi, how do you say that? Bazi, Chinese astrology. I would like to know, you know, do you have any ideas of how this might actually work with that style? I don't know too much about, I mean, I've read some about it, but I haven't practiced any of it per se. All right, so Mars and Virgo. I think I'm stalling here because there's a lot of big challenges. Find yourself stalling, going, okay, do I really have to do this again? Lots of work. Lots of good, healthy work. My dreams are packed full of images lately. I think I'm averaging like 4 or 5 dreams a night. It's hard for me to remember all of it, but I'm trying to keep track. And I think it's probably about 3 times more dreams than what I normally have, or more, maybe even more than that. It's a little overwhelming. But that's what this is supposed to do. It is supposed to open you up when you're really ready to do some self-transformation, some discovery. And I do feel that that's happening. I think with Mars and Libra is what I need to continue to focus on. You know, you're thinking about Mars, you're thinking about Venus, you're thinking about Libra's ability to create harmony. At least that's what's coming to my mind. So if you want to come up with a journal topic for the day or a tarot card spread, you can take a few moments, hit pause, think about it. For me, is what I'm wanting to know is, how do I use my kind of my aggressive personality, the part of me that's aggressive, the Martian aspect, my inner Aries, my god of war archetype that sometimes gets constellated, activated, very much driven by the feeling of adrenaline, reactivity. That warrior that I have. How do I direct it so that rather than being a dividing force, because is what I tend to do is, and we've talked about this a lot, I've mentioned it many times now, but is what I tend to do is I use my sword in the wrong times with the wrong people. And then I beat myself up for it because I'm like, why? I don't understand why I do stuff like that. Self-sabotaging. How do I use that kind of energy to create harmony, to create better relationships, cooperation, rather than continuing to make myself more and more isolated and pushing people off so that they're isolated as well. Hopefully that makes some sense. I just want to draw 3 cards and just see if it tells a story, which is what I've been doing on this part of the journey. It just feels right. I don't know. I started off kind of doing this, then I tried some tarot card spreads, and I think I've been doing a little more of this freestyle reading. I go a lot by feeling what feels right, and that feels good to me today. So let's draw card number 1. 2. 3. So I have the 5th major arcana, the Hierophant. Then I have the 6 of Swords and the 4 of Pentacles. So the Hierophant is a tradition. It's grounded, it's Taurus energy. I think tradition is what's really standing out to me right off. And I kind of compare it here, the Hierophant, as a father, and so is the Emperor. The Emperor was what I really needed to focus on yesterday, but look at the resemblance of those cards, right? Quite similar. For some reason, those keys are really standing out to me too, which I don't know the meaning of those. If anyone knows what the meaning of those keys are, it drew my attention because I wonder why I haven't paid attention to those. They're so obvious, and yet they seem to have always been evading my perception. Tradition, and so Taurus and tradition is what's coming to mind with the Hierophant. And the 5 really has to do with challenges a lot of times. So I'm thinking about, I've rejected tradition a lot in the last, 15 years of my life, I'd say. Kind of turned myself into a lone wolf. And I think that's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, quite a bad habit. It's like it spilled over. Okay, so I left some groups that I had once belonged to, and then I left some more, and I left some more. And so the big groups that I belonged to, even when I finished the military, made me a little more isolated. But you're talking about religion and friend groups and different things. They kind of went to the side. But then, like a cancer, it kept spreading until that same habit became personal too. And then I find myself going, why do I sabotage relationships that are meaningful to me? It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And I just can imagine, what if I was more open to being part of a tradition? But I don't know where or what. I've thought about, I could be part of a Zen meditation group, or maybe a tarot card meetup. I don't know if I match up well with this. I've looked at a local tarot card meetup, and I like to invent new words. A read up. I like that. A tarot card read up. But, you know, I don't know if I fit in. I don't know if I could see myself there. It would be nice. It'd be nice to start learning how to actively seek out friendships and learn how to do that again. So then the Six of Swords, it is the rite of passage, I think. It's a reminder that I'm I'm not here at the fore. That's my, whoops, I dropped my little Buddha statue here. That is the manifestation part. That's the final operation of the alchemy, the coagulation, the destination, a solid footing, making something real, actually seeing the results of your work. And I think is what I'm realizing is the key to this, understanding this situation, is trying to bring in some tradition, even if I have to create it myself. And I don't mean create like a, you know, the fact that I built this little system thing, it could come off as if I'm trying to, you know, make a group like human design, or, which I don't know anything about human design. I look at this as a game, essentially. But is what I mean by that is having my own traditions, right? Maybe I need to have some of my own traditions. But I do think being part of something would be healthy for me too. Not always being the lone wolf. And I think if I do have an archetypal possession, maybe that's what it is. And I need to realize I'm just right here, right now. Just on the journey, probably early on it. But here's the possibility. Becoming more grounded, which goes along with this Hierophant, that Taurus energy. That's about all I think I have to say on this one today. It's starting to get a little bit long. Thanks for joining me. I hope that was helpful. So these cards were Yang. Our planet was Yang. So it's going to go in the top right corner. Hope you found some value in this today. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, support the channel, or give me some feedback. I'd love to hear how this is going for you, what your thoughts are. Have a good night.